Yes.
Okay, so today we're going to build on what we've been doing with fractions. Today's going to be fractions times fractions. But first I want to go over the exit ticket that you did yesterday. The results weren't so good. Who finds this a little confusing? Well, guess what? I do too. Because Ms. Bright and I didn't learn to multiply fractions this way, and I'm sure you didn't either. So we actually have just learned this technique as well. So let's go over one of the problems from the exit ticket yesterday, which was 2 times 1/3. So we're going to do it this way. We're going to do our concrete first. I'm going to use 2 Kit Kat bars. Okay, so this is 2 holes. I have 2 Kit Kat bars. There's 2 holes. But what do I need to do to these 2 holes? I need to cut them into, Shelby? Thirds. I'm going to do that right now. Because as you remember, we're using the CRA model. We have to do concrete, which means we have to do something with manipulatives. That's what we're doing right now. So now I have 2 holes, but I broke them into what?
Thirds.
Okay. How many pieces do I have altogether?
6.
Okay. Now, it wants me to take 1/3 from each hole. So I'm going to take 1/3 here, put it over here. I'm going to take 1/3 here. I took 1/3 from each hole. Now, how many do I have over here? 2 what? 2/3. I have 2/3. Well, let's draw a picture next. This is our representation model. I'm going to draw 2 holes. There's 1 hole. There's 2 holes. What do I need to do? Break it into thirds, yes. I need to shade in what?
1/3.
What do I need to shade in? 1/3 of each hole. But there's 2 holes, I want 1/3 of each. How many did I shade in?
2.
2 what?
2 thirds.
Okay, let's multiply 2 times 1/3. This is our A, this is our abstract. We have to solve the problem, doing actual multiplication. 2 is understood to be over 1 times 1/3, which is 1/3. 2 times 1 class is
2.
1 times 3.
3.
Okay, I've got 2/3, 2/3, 2/3. Did I solve this problem 3 different ways?
Yes.
That's exactly what you all need to be doing. Do you understand what I did?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to move on today. We're going to build on what we've done already. And we're going to multiply only fractions times fractions because this problem had a whole number. Okay, we're not going to be using whole numbers today, only fractions. So I made this poster for you, and I'd like to do one with you that shows you how to use this poster and the steps that will make life really easy when you're doing these problems. Okay, so let's do another one. And I need some more Kit Kat bars. Okay, we're going to do fractions. We're going to do 1/2 times 1/2. Alright. I need 1 Kit Kat bar. Okay, let's look at the poster. This is what I like to do. I like to do step by step. So if I have 2 fractions, I'm going to say this is fraction number 1, this is fraction number 2. And then I have steps to do for each fraction. So I'm going to label my fractions. And you can do this on your test. You can do this. I'm going to say this is number 1, this is number 2. And I'm going to follow my steps. Fraction 1. Draw vertical lines to make parts equal to the denominator. So I'm going to do vertical lines first. I'm going to start with fraction number 1. So I'm going to draw or cut a vertical line. How many equal parts do I need?
2.
Because my denominator says 2. That means I need 2 equal parts. two equal parts. How many parts does it want me to set aside?
1.
I'm going to set this one over here. Okay. Fraction number 2. I'm going to draw or cut a horizontal line to make equal parts in the denominator. What's my denominator?
2.
So how many sections do I need horizontally?
2.
2. Okay, I'm going to cut my Kit Kat board this way now. Now I have 2 parts. Okay, this is the half that we didn't need anymore. This is the half that we do need. Remember how I split it?
Yeah.
How many parts do I need according to fraction 2?
1.
1. I'm going to put this up here. How many parts do we have all together in this one whole Kit Kat? Let me see your fingers. How many parts do I have in this one whole Kit Kat? Okay, I see some people have 3 fingers and some people have 4. All together, how many parts are there?
4.
There are 4 parts all together. So I'm going to have 4 parts total because the denominator tells me the whole. How many parts in the whole? How many did I have to set aside by itself? 1. That's my numerator. Let's draw it. I have a whole Kit Kat. Fraction number 1. I need to split this Kit Kat into how many pieces?
2.
Excellent. How many pieces do I need to shade in?
1.
Excellent. Okay, fraction number 2. And you know what else I like to do? When I split this into 2 pieces, I like to put a check mark to say, okay, I did that part. And then I shaded in 1 part. Check, did that. Fraction number 2. What do I need to split horizontally into how many pieces?
2.
Check. How many of these halves do I need to shade in?
1.
1, because my numerator says 1. Go all the way across my whole half. Check. How many, okay, look at the bottom of the poster where it says overlap. How many parts of this model overlap each other? Let me see your fingers. How many parts overlap? Okay, so I'm going to just draw it in a box, a little dark. Only 1 part. So how many parts overlap becomes your what? Look at the poster. Becomes your numerator. So only 1 overlaps. How many parts all together in this one whole?
4.
4. So I got 1/4 here, and I got 1/4 here. Now we need to multiply. 1/2 times 1/2. 1 times 1.
1.
2 times 2.
4.
I got 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. So my answer is?
1/4.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I forget that one was working. All right, Ms. Bray, I'm going to go ahead. Go ahead and do one more, or you want to turn it over to you? Right. Do we have people that have to go read later?
Yes, 5 minutes early.
Okay. So how about if I turn it over to you at this point?
Okay, all right. So, take a look up here on this board real quick. I just want you guys to look at our outcome for the day. So it says the students will multiply a fraction by a fraction by using visual models, drawing visual representations, and solving equations. But before we get to that part, I think that we should have a pop quiz. What do you guys think?
No.
You guys want a pop quiz?
No.
Okay. I'm just kidding. What if I said we're going to have a pop quiz with Kit Kat bars?
No. Yes.
All right.
Real
Kit Kat bars.
Yes. Sure.
Here they are over here.
Oh God! Is it
Okay, I think that's not already. Before we begin, there are some things that we need to cover. Alright, so Mrs. Harpin and Mrs. Vickery are going to walk around and they're going to hand out the worksheet with the quiz on it. And we're basically doing something very, very similar to what we just did. We're going to do 1/2 times 1/2. That's the problem. But we're going to all do it ourselves with the Kit Kat bars in our hands. So we can visually see it right in front of us how this works, okay? So Mrs. Harpin's going to pass out a checklist that we're going to do. It's a CRA checklist. So, can I get one of those, the CRA checklist? So this is what it looks like. C stands for concrete, which means cut it. But in this case, we're breaking it, right? Like, break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. All right, and then the second one, your second checklist is representational. Draw it. You need to draw a picture of your Kit Kat bar and how you're breaking it into pieces. Thank you. And then the last one is abstract, which means calculate it, solve it. I want you to actually solve the problem. Okay? Yes. Okay. Thank you for reminding me, Marilyn. One more thing. When you do this quiz, I want you guys each to check off, go down your checklist and check off each one after you finish it. And then me and Mrs. Turpin are going to walk around and make sure you've completed all of the steps. And if you have completed all of your steps, I want you to just raise your hand, and that tells us that you're ready, that you finished. And we'll walk around and make sure that you're completely finished and you did a great job and you got it right. And then you can eat your Kit Kat bar. Okay? Once you get your Kit Kat bar, go ahead and you can get started.
Don't forget, like, can we open it? Yes.
Open it.
You can open it.
Oh, it's so cold. These are freezing.
We have to finish our work and then we can eat it. We can't open it then.
Interesting question.
All right, class?
Yes.
Class?
Yes.
Awesome. I need your eyes and ears up here real quick. So, this is one thing that I noticed on the exit tickets from yesterday. A lot of you were doing, with the problem 1/2 times 1/2, a lot of your answers were like one whole. And you added them together. You're doing multiplication. And I know that when you think of multiplication, you think of the numbers getting bigger than what you started with, right? But when we're dealing with fractions, our numbers get smaller. So let me just show you an example real quick with the Kit Kat bars so I can try to explain it a little bit better. So each Kit Kat piece has 2 bars on it, okay? So if I did a whole number times a whole number, 2 times 2, what's my answer?
4.
I have 4 wholes, okay? Now I have 2 Kit Kat bars. What if I do 2 times 1/2? What's my answer going to be? Jody?
1.
Okay, why do you say 1?
Because when you multiply it by 1/2, it's you have to do 2 1/2s to get 1 whole. So I think of it as practically just dividing it by 2.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. You're dividing it by 2. So take a look right here. When I say 2 times 1/2, just another way of saying multiplication is of. What is half of 2? What's half of 2? 1. Okay, so my 2 times 1/2 is 1. Now let's go ahead and look at your problem in front of you. A half times a half. I don't even know. Yep, so now we're all going to do this one. Once, then you can candy bar. All right, so we have a half times a half. For the sake of this, we know that these are 2 bars, but for the sake of this quiz, this is 1 whole, okay? This whole Kit Kat piece is going to equal 1 whole. So now, what do we have to do first?
Break it.
Look, what's our fraction number 1?
Concrete.
Okay, so let's do that. Break it in half. Now what are we going to do? What's the next step?
Draw it.
What about these steps over here? Well, we can't draw. We're doing a half times a half. So we broke it into half. Now we need to break it into a half again. Just one or both?
Both.
Both. All right. Break them both in half. Now, how many do I have total? 4. Okay? So my final answer is? 4. Fourths. Okay, it's fourths. Well, go ahead and finish up your quiz. And if you think you know the answer, and you think you're done, raise your hand and we'll walk around and check.
You just said the answer.
I gave you part of the answer. I want you guys to do the rest on your own.
So we want to see your model, which is your broken Kit Kats. We want to see your drawing, and we want to see your math. When you're done, check it off on your checklist, and we'll be by to check it.
I did it.
As soon as you finish the first step, check it off. Next one, check it off. Check as you go.
Yes, you can. Eat that Kit Kat card. Yes, you can check it out.
And that one, this last one.
She said the same thing. I'm done. Did I do it?
All right, we'll have Miss Vicker and Miss Herman walk around and check.
Miss Brady. I literally broke it in half and look. That's creepy.
You done?
You know what?
To go to the second fraction. So now,
Me too.
two.
Yeah, I broke mine in half like that too.
Do we get homework?
I don't know. That stuff is stuff for your mom.
Guys, we're not worrying about anybody but ourselves. Check the other shit. Get 2 pieces this way. So you have to have it's shaded.
No, you can't. No, you don't get it. On the Shelby has another one. Too late.
No, I said that I will grab that.
Broke it into 6. Okay, each Kit Kat.
What are we doing over that?
You did that?
Miss Vickery. Oh, no. I don't have a hyper.
So you show, see, you have your lip gloss. I would have got it to do it all
Coffee.
If I sneak a shade,
You're all out there.
no. After. But if I sneak it or something, then I don't know why. It's not for this. You have one. I know. Those pieces are back.
You told me in the movie.
Because that's what vampires do.
Did you see Twilight?
I watched all. I have all of the Twilight movies. Every
Except for
last.
part 2.
No, I have all of them.
I think part 2 has been come out.
Yes, it does. I have it on.
You need to get me that for Christmas. I think I got one Twilight.
Or Breaking Dawn. I have Breaking Dawn part 1.
I told her she needs to give me that for Christmas.
job. Good job. Alright, if you can hear my voice, clap once. If you can hear my voice, clap twice. Alright, awesome. Now that I have everyone's attention, and that I think everybody got the hang of it, but real quick, I just want to show you a very easy way to figure out the answer, okay? We're going about this in a kind of a difficult way. We have to be able to draw a visual representation of what's going on so that we really understand what we're doing to these fractions and how we get the final answer. But if you get to the point where you don't have to do that, or this is just another way you can check your work, you multiply your numerators to get your final numerator, and you multiply your denominators to get your final denominator. So, we go this way. What is 1 times 1? 1. 1. And now what's 2 times 2?
4.
4. 2 times 2 is 4. That's all you got to do.
That's it. That's it?
That's one way to do it, but unfortunately for all of us, you have to draw it on the test. And if you're not paying attention on the test and you draw your model the wrong way, but happen to get the correct answer, you're not going to get all of your points. You have to draw your model the correct way to get all of your points.
And may I add, this is a great way to check your work. Because if you do it like this, and you find out your final product, which is 1/4, your picture should have 4 parts. So you know that this part is easy to do. You know that this is the right answer. If your picture does not have the correct amount of parts, then you know you're drawing, you did something wrong in your drawing. Okay? Alright. Yep. Okay, so like I mentioned before, we're going to split up. Those of us who normally work with, who are Mrs. Eisenbeiser's class, with Mrs. Bradford and Mrs. Herpin, is it a green worksheet? Yes. Your green, if you get a green worksheet, you're going to come up here and work in the front. If you get a blue worksheet, you're going to go to the back tables and work with me in the back. Okay? Anything else I need to add?
I would just like to add one thing. That if, for those who show participation and are really trying today, I think there might be a little something in it for you.
Entire bag? No, entire bag. No, Marilyn. Come on.
Okay, Miss is Eisenbeiser's class, please come forward.
Come on.
And Miss
my class, go to the back
and
table.
Miss Wright's class will move to the back. Bring your pencils, please.
I want the bag. No.
Okay, class.
Yes, yes.
Class, I would like to excuse me, Shania. I would like to just tell you one more thing about our activity that we're going to be doing right now. You're going to be getting either blue or green worksheets, and you'll see beside each problem on the worksheet there's a food. You're going to get a food of every group. So when you're doing number 1, it's a Kit Kat bars. When you're doing number 2, it's a Hershey's bar. You have all the foods here. So what we need to see you doing is cutting these up first, drawing them second, and then doing your math to check your work.
Okay, give me one thing.
Let's talk about that.
This right?
Yeah, just okay, come up and join us.
Look at the candy. Oh,
Don't take them apart. We're going to use them in the
That's a whole. It's a whole.
done. Let's go.
Okay, so for the first couple, we're going to do the first maybe one or two, we're going to do it together, all at the same time, following me. Okay, and then after that, start becoming a little bit more independent and work on your own. So let's take a look at number one. Oh, that looks familiar. Half times 1/2. Okay? Yeah, we did it also to show you a piece of cake, right?
Oh, no,
Right. Okay, so our first step is to cut it. Alright, so we have 1/2 times 1 here. What's our first step? Yep, show me. Kick that out. Scissors ready. Cut your Kit Kat in half. Alright, now you're going to the second fraction. Alright, and then what'd you say, Parker? Exactly. Cut it in half again. How many total packets are we talking? 4. That was fine. That was good. Alright, everybody do check off. Step 1. Step 2. Remember step 2. What'd you say, DJ? Draw it. What did he say? Draw it. Draw it. Alright. So I want you guys to start off with just drawing a square or a rectangle. Okay, it's already there. Awesome. You don't have to do much. Okay? Here we have fraction number 1 and fraction number 2. Step 1, take a look at the denominator in our first fraction. 2. So we're going to split this up into 2 equal parts.
Check it off. Shade in one of those parts that you just drew all the way across.
Okay, everybody's got that?
Then we have to color in that.
Alright, and how many parts can color in? Just 1, because now the numerator just says 1. So.
And how many parts do you have?
Okay, this picture right here represents 1/2. Now, we're multiplying it by another half.
Double check.
So.
Multiplying those.
Split it in half again, okay? So now we're going to do our horizontal line
So
and split this in
you
half.
almost cut it.
So now we have, going this way, we have, kind of picture it without this line right here. Okay, now we have 1, 2 holes this way, okay? And how many are we shading in?
Okay, so you cut it in half. I need to cut it in half again. Because we need to make 2 halves.
Only shading in 1. How many parts are shaded in by 2 colors? Just 1, okay? And how many do we have all together? 4. Yep, that's how you figure it out. Easy peasy.
Cut it. Did you draw it?
Alright, so the third step then was to solve it. So just like what I showed you up here, we do multiply our numerators, 1 times 1 is 1, multiply our denominators, 2 times 2 is 4. Somebody tell me number 2. 1/2 times 1. Alright, everybody take out the Hershey bars. So what's our first step? First step is to cut it. First step is to cut it into how many pieces? Let's take a look at our first step.
Hey, class,
Good.
class.
Start with a half.
Class.
Yes.
Everyone. I'd like to point something out to you that I think is really messing some of us up. There's a reason that there are steps We need to take care of fraction 1 first. Who's on number 2 right now? Okay, we need steps. We don't want to draw everything at one time. This is number 2. What's the first fraction?
1/2.
1/2. Our denominator is,
1/3. 2.
our denominator in 1/2 is,
2.
so how many equal parts do I need?
2.
1/2 times what is it?
1/2. 1/3. No, that's the first one.
Okay, so this is fraction number 1. Okay, I need you to look because I think this is going to help clarify it for you. I'm going to break this into 2. Check. How many do I need to shade in?
1.
Do only one fraction at a time. I split it into 2. I'm going to take the time and shade that now, not later when I have all my lines drawn, because that's really tripping us up. Check. Now go to fraction 2. How many parts do I need to make horizontally? So I'm going to draw 2 lines to make 3 parts. Check. How many of those horizontal bars do I need to shade in?
1.
1. I gotta go all the way across. Now, step 3, how many overlap?
2.
How many have lines going both ways?
1.
Just 1. So how many parts overlap?
1.
And then 1 becomes my,
Numerator.
how many parts in all? This is a
6.
whole. This is a whole. So how many parts in this whole?
6.
My 6 becomes my
Denominator.
My answer is?
1/6.
Okay, please do one fraction at a time, and I think that's going to make life easier for you. Carry on.
Okay, good, so we got the credit part.
Now, we have 2 halves. How many times are we cutting those halves?
I think we did.
Right, exactly, 3 times, because we're cutting it into thirds.
No, we're just one. Halfway there. Well, there's only one problem, Seth. You didn't cut all of yours into halves. You got all pieces into thirds. Come on,
And your overlapping is your new business. Your future is representing 3 cents. You see what I'm saying?
So now, how many sections?
all
Wait,
two pieces,
think about it.
two pieces, 2 halves.
1/3.
Both halves.
So how do you divide that into 1/3? And how much of it do you need to shade?
You guys, what's our next step? Take a look here real quick.
Is one.
Take a look up here real quick. Can I have your attention, please? What is my next step? I've already done my first fraction. Okay, I got thirds. Now what?
Up and down into 3. Now, we have to, how many equal pieces do you need? 3 equal pieces. So just do the best you can to make 3 equal pieces.
I think you guys got the hang of it.
Now we can try the rest on our own.
Oh yeah, you guys are already on to
Let's not eat it, let's cut it.
What?
This is number 3. I know. I know.
How do you draw that?
Did you skip number 3? No, I did number 3.
Cut it in.
Alright. Tell me how many of them overlap. 3. Out of how many total?
How many pieces do you have total? 4, 6. So is that your numerator or denominator? Yep.
12.
What's the easy way to check that?
And how can we
What's an easy way to check that?
What do you mean?
It can be 3 times 6.
Does it matter what fraction?